Good afternoon, everybody. Today we're going to start our new podcast, AETA Talks. The first person being interviewed with our AETA Talks will be Dr. Daniela Demetrio. She is an AETA practitioner and president of the AETA. This is our very first podcast, and I would like to tell you guys that the ATA and the promotion committee, they have worked really hard to make this all happen. And the main reason for this podcast is to promote ATA and educate the public and ATA practitioners and members. Also, this podcast serves as a way to be more in contact with our AT practitioners to discuss topics and updates in our industry. During last year's meeting, we discussed the fact that we needed to be more in touch uh, with everybody else other than only once a year. And we suggested to create this podcast. Please let us know if you guys have any questions, reviews, if we can do anything better to best serve you. That's the main purpose of the ATA. Just to start with, this podcast is supported and sponsored by the Professional Embryo Transfer Supply Pets, a longtime loyal sponsor and friend of ATA. Pets supplies embryologists around the world with most of the products that are needed to perform bovine, equine, and ovine embryo transfer. For more than a quarter century, Pets has been a world leader as an embryo transfer supply company. Their goal has always been and remains your success through excellent customer service, the best possible quality products, and our continued quest for customer satisfaction. ATA would like to thank Pets for their sponsorship of this episode, as well as their continued support of the ET industry. Just to introduce myself, I'll be your host of this show and podcast. My name is Ramon Tosta. I'm a licensed veterinarian, certified ATA member, and a member of the promotion committee. I graduated in 2012 from Brazil and got a job in Texas with ST Genetics. Later moved to Wisconsin with the same company, and then to California where I started working with Beer Dairy and Mobitech. With 10 plus years of experience in embryo transfer, I learned a lot from Dr. Moline, Dr. Alfredo Castro, and many others that played a key role in my career. I'm married to Dr. Lais Coelho, also a veterinary embryologist, and we have three beautiful kids, Melissa, Leonardo, and Angelina. This is the only time I'm going to be sharing with you guys my bio just to introduce myself. And then always I'm going to be just introducing the bio of the people that will be interviewing here. Okay. I'm going to talk a little bit about the person that the practitioner that we're interviewing today, Dr. Daniela Demetrio. I would like to welcome her to the podcast. And just I'm going to read quickly here her bio, which is impressive. Dr. Demetrio received her DVM degree in 1999 and her animal reproduction master's degree in 2006 from the São Paulo State University in Brazil. Her passion for bovine embryo production started in 2000 when she learned to transfer embryos and flush cows in a Brazilian embryo transfer center. Her first exposure to in vitro embryo production was in 2002 during a training at the National Livestock Breeding Center in Japan. Wow. Daniela received the prize for the best research study in applied science from the Brazilian Embryo Technology Society in 2006 for her work comparing pregnancy results for AI and ET in Holstein cows. In 2006, Daniela and her husband Julio were invited to set up RuAnn's IVF lab in Riverdale, California. She obtained her California veterinary license in 2012, the American Embryo Transfer Association certification in 2000. Oh, I'm sorry. Her license 2011 and the ATA certification in 2012. Was the chair of the ATA Stats Committee from 2016 to 22. Member of the ATA Board of Directors since 2021. received the 2023 AETA President Award and currently serves as AETA's president. As the RuAnn Genetics Bovine Embryo Transfer Program Director, Dr. Demetrio is responsible for the production and transfer of approximately 10,000 wholesale injurges and Angus embryos per year, in vivo and in vitro, for in-house use to other local farmers and to be exported worldwide. Daniela has flushed over $85,000 and transferred more than 70,000 embryos since she started. She has presented practical aspects of her work at AETA, IETS, AABP, the Regional Society, and also in Brazil, Argentina, India, China, Europe. Daniela and Julio have two beautiful daughters, Luisa and Alice, that fill their lives with joy. This is a really impressive bio, Daniela, and as the president of the ATA right now, I would like to welcome you to the show.
Thank you, Ramon, for the introduction and the promotion committee for starting the podcast, and Pets again for sponsoring our first podcast.
Well, just to start, we're gonna be talking today about a couple of things, general, more general, things that has happened, this year. Also, we're gonna get a little bit of an understanding about Dr. Demetrio's career, and then but also touch a little bit on her passion and then what she likes to do. This is a way, guys, again, to promote the ATA and also to find out what is going on with our practitioners. So, Daniela, can you talk a little bit about your journey from joining the ATA as a member to becoming ATA president? And also this is going to serve greatly to help young practitioners who wants to, get their career started, with ET work, to learn about you, of course, your career, the way you started everything, but also give them an example on how to start. But just tell us a little bit about your journey here.
Yeah, I transferred my first embryo in 2000 after I was working at a dairy right after vet school in Brazil, and an ET practitioner started collecting embryos over there, and he taught me how to do it. And after that, I kind of got involved with that. And I think what helped me a little bit was the experience that I had with artificial insemination and by preg checking cows, doing some herd checks as well. I think that previous experience helped me to lead into the embryo transfer, but I fell in love with it. So I kind of left the other parts of the vet medicine and started my journey with the embryo transfer. And in 2008, we decided to move to the USA. We got invited to work here at Maddox in California under the supervision of Dr. Álvaro Magalhães. And he was a certified vet that took care of everything, but he was planning to retire in about 5 years. So I said, well, I like this, I like the place. So I worked on my vet license, and after that I became an AETA member and became certified in 2012. And I think being at AETA, I met some incredible people that taught me a lot, and some challenged me a lot because they had really good results. So I said, I need to do better to achieve those numbers. So I think being involved with ATA made my work evolve to a different level of quality and professionalism because of the people that I ended up meeting over there. So, and as you continue to come to those meetings, you see that you want to try to help the association too. And I always loved numbers. The numbers are a part of my life, and that's how I check if I'm doing good on my work or not. So I'm always analyzing the numbers on a daily basis. And Michael Berman decided to step down for the statistics committee, and the ATA was looking for someone else to step up. And of course, there are not too many volunteers to do that task, but I volunteered. I said maybe it's a way to try to return a little bit to AETA what it had given to my career. So I started to run the statistics committee. And in 2020, I was invited to run for the board, and then I'm honored to be here as the 2024 president. Um,
That's great. That's an incredible journey that you had from 2008 all the way to 2024. We thank you so much because just so you guys know, like the ATA is, I mean, served by volunteers. Everybody that help ATA grow, like all the practitioners, like they're all volunteers. And we do thank you so much for that. But like just one comment I want to make or a question I want to ask, like when you first started your journey there, like the process of learning ET, and well, tell us like what was your like on your previous comment, like what it was like the before and after AETA, was that like a huge change, a huge impact you had? What was the biggest like what do you think was the biggest advantage?
I think I still had some of, since Alvaro, he was already involved with AETA, so I kind of knew a little bit of what AETA was about. So, but then after going to the meetings, and I think the conferences are amazing, but the coffee breaks and those breakfasts and lunches that you have and you talk to people, I think that's you learn more of what's going on in the industry too, what other people are doing, and I think that kind of inspired me to move forward too. So
Was
it's
that was there like a thing that where when you were at one of the you don't have to answer that, but like was there like in one of the meetings where you're like, man, I need to start doing that, in my daily basis, and then you were like, and then you started doing it right away, and it worked, and then you just like applied that in real life. Was that something that you
yeah,
can remember?
yeah. I think like as one big example is, as a Brazilian, we come saying that we do not need any FSH for the donors going through OPU and IVF. So I think that's one of the things that changed completely. I started here not using any FSH for the hostings and the Jersey donors, and the results were really poor. And by listening to other people, talking to other people, I said, no, there's no way that I can make embryos from hostings and jerseys without using FSH. So I think that's one of the big changes that was probably because of people that I met during ATA meetings. Yeah.
That's really good to
Yeah.
hear. I feel the same way. It's something that I, just to put
Yeah.
my input here, like something that I learned here too. Like, the impact of FSH was big for me too. Like, especially working with dairy, like dairies like in Wisconsin and here in California was big for me too. Yeah, I've seen like many talks about it, and I learned a lot with industry leaders as well. Great comment there. Another so moving forward in your on our script here, just like going over things with you. What do you think were like the biggest challenges that you had that you are having right now as the president of AETA, which I admit, I mean, you might have like a lot of those because like it's we're not we're not as big as like another other like associations such as the ABP, but like we're a good chunk of people, and then like you get emails and like you answer those and you talk to a lot of people to the whole industry. It's a challenge. Can you comment a little bit on the challenge that you have been having?
I think the first thing that we started in January was the FSH shortage. You wake up as president of the American Embryo Transfer Association, and there's no FSH in the market. So it's kind of a little bit hard, but it's not only my problem. I think previous administrations, Greg Schuler, we all have been dealing with that. but I think starting the year it was very very hard. And I think I would like to thank all of our members that submitted emails to the FSH shortage email, complaining that there was no FSH in the market. I think that helped them to recognize the problem, and we had great support of AVMA and ABP that assisted us with the communication with FDA and USDA, and FDA ended up granting no-objection letters for the importation of Clusat, which kind of helped our market a little bit. So, but it's hard. It's a hard one because we only have one FDA approved drug, and if there's none in the market, we're totally out. So that's a big challenge. I think it's not only for me, it's for all of us. And people that are still experiencing a shortage should probably continue to send emails to FDA. And I don't know how we can try to stimulate other companies to get FDA approved as well. But it's something that our ATA members don't know, but there were countless hours of work and putting data together and begging to get this to happen. And it's not just the beginning of this year, but since the other shortages have been happening.
Absolutely. And one comment I want to make there, like, if any of our listeners, any of the members, like, know any, like, politician or anybody that you guys know that have influence to help us out. I mean, one of the first letters that, like, the ETA sent out was mentioning something like that. If any of our members have influence or can be helping us with that problem, I would encourage you to reach out to, I don't know, senator or anybody that you know that could help us with that issue. But like, I know Daniela has also been working on that problem, so I think that we will be, like, continuously working for that in order to improve the lives of all the practitioners, like, in the country. So that's really important to know. So.
Yeah. And there's a world shortage too, so it's not only a US problem. There is other countries without too, so it's bigger than we think, but we'll have to keep trying and try to
We'll have to
stimulate other
power through that.
companies to. Sorry?
We'll have to power through that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the other challenge that I think all of ATA administrations have is, how do we maintain AETA relevant in the ET industry with a changing industry? I think we've also the big switch from in vivo produced embryos to IVF, and now we see a lot of large scale ET being done by non-qualified people as well. So why do we become an ATA member if anyone can do it? So how do we keep ATA relevant and important, that how do we keep it relevant in the ET market? And I think our members need to bring the problems that we have, and it's a diverse membership that we have with different scenarios, bigger companies, smaller companies. So we know what's going on and try to help as well. And also members need to participate in committees or run for the board too, so they can help us to continue to make ATA strong.
Absolutely. And I think, like, one of your comments there, how to engage. This is one of the purpose of this podcast, to talk to everybody, to have you guys listen to what we're saying, to our voices, and, like, also to send us, like, emails, to email the ATA, Morgan and everybody else that helps us every day. So if you guys want to reach out with questions, complaints, problems, issues, but also if you want to bring up a problem, make sure you also, like, to not also bring the problem, bring a couple of suggestions for solutions as well. We're here to help. But at the same time, we'd like AETA to be more relevant in the lives, like Dr. Demetrio said, in the lives of all the AET practitioners in the country. But that's huge if we can improve the quality of the service offered to the public. First of all, that's
Yeah.
one of the top priorities. And then the other part is like for us to try to get people to see the value of being a member and also certified ATA practitioner, because when you do show everybody quality, when you show them like a difference like in results, I think like the whole ATA committee and like community will gain from that. And that's what we need to put it out there, that we're like a strong association and that's going to be promoted this way. So, but yeah, those challenges are huge, Danielle. I'm with you. I understand like all the challenges you were having. The FSH one is crazy. I mean, we're being like, trying to solve that problem. And your second challenge to maintain the relevance of ATA in the changing industry, it's huge. But those things we can like, talk more about that later. Another thing I want to ask you like is why is the ETA so important for you and all practitioners that practice ET in this country, not only in this country but in the world as well, because people that come here like we're a mix of like practitioners like you and I from Brazil. There are people from Argentina, from like South America, from Europe, and like all those experiences coming here, they get mixed and then they get applied into our daily routine here. But what do you think? What's what's that you think that like is important for you in the practice of ET?
I think the main goal and what ATA does and have been doing all these years since it was founded is to work on behalf of the ET practitioner. And we are different ET practitioners working for ourselves, even if we work for different companies that sometimes are in the market different ways too, but we're all working with the same objective, that is in behalf of the T practitioner to benefit everybody. And I think as I mentioned before, the networking part is the most important thing. I think I've learned a lot during the breakfast and lunches, sitting with different people during our conventions. I love that networking. Every time I bring at least a few different things to try over here at home in my practice as well. And so we have all these ATA committees working for the ET practitioner. The convention one is one important one that puts the program together and try to bring most current topics together with the exhibit committee that needs to find sponsors. The cost of every of those meetings are getting so expensive. It's really hard to put a meeting together if we don't have our sponsors. So thank you for all the sponsors and exhibitors that help us every year to put the meetings together. And thank you, Pat, again for having the podcast today. And we have the certification committee that has a unique certification program in the whole world. Not many countries have this certification that, as you mentioned, that give professionals that will do a really good quality service for the farmer, and USDA recognizes it as a gold standard in the transfer industry. So that's a really important committee. We have the education committee that puts the newsletters together and try to bring more education information for our members too. We have the government liaison committee that brings updates from ITS, negotiate protocols, export protocols with USDA as well. So there's a lot that goes behind the scenes. The membership committee is always present on ABP and ITS and some other meetings, trying to inspire the next generation of ATA practitioners to come back. And they select 10 students every year, and ATA grants a student scholarship to come to our conventions. The whole thing paid, so the trip, the hotel, and the convention for 10 students that are PhDs in animal reproduction or vet students. We have the promotion committee that keeps promoting the brand of AETA nationally and internationally. The research committee this year, it's the third year that we have a grant that we grant $10,000 for research, and we do that two grants every year. But the grant needs to come from a group that involves a practitioner, a scientist, and a student, and they come with a research proposal, and we will grant them the money, and they will have to come and present results from that new research to AETA. So we'll probably see the results from the first grants that we did this year in our meeting. So from now on, we'll start seeing those new researches coming back. The statistics committee, I think it's dear to me. Now Charles is in charge, but yeah, it gives us the trends of what's going on in our industry. Yeah? And some people might say, no, but my embryos are not there. This is not right. Okay, so submit data so your numbers are in there so we can see what really is going on in the market. But of course, the number is not precise, but as you evaluate over the years, we can see what's really going on over there.
And I think like just to mention a little bit on your just committee there, I think the importance of that is huge. Like that's I think one of the biggest like impacts that the statistics committee had over the years was when we could clearly see the change from in vivo to in vitro embryos on the trend of like them being like transferred. I think that's when we saw a market shift and everybody went towards in vitro because of how often you can do OBUs and how often you can like produce those embryos, and you can of course like explore that way more. I think the statistics committee did a great job there, showing us this every year. And I think you are, I remember you like saying, Ramon, please, submit, and personally telling me that, and also telling other people to submit, bothering people. And I think like it's not even bothering, it's like, everybody sometimes gets so caught up with their lives, and they're like, and everybody's busy, right? But also when you see the numbers out there, when you see the reliable data, everybody's like, oh man, you know what? I can use that data for a presentation that I have because ATA has, been also so real about everything that has happened in the industry. So if more people would think this way, more people to submit the data, we would have, more numbers to, deal with. And I think like this would, help even more. But, thanks to you, thanks to everybody that served the statistic committee. And then like, that was something incredible that you guys accomplished there. I mean, it's really hard to keep everybody to submit the data. So,
and even on the statistics, you're going to do that once a year. So like what I like to use, in my case, I do at the same time for mine. I like to look what happened in my business as well by looking at those numbers. So when I'm getting ready to submit, okay, this client didn't do so well. What can we do to do this better? So I like to use it like it's a one time a year that I sit down to get those numbers ready to be submitted, but I also evaluate my business to see how things are going. So I like to see it that way. People should see too.
Absolutely. And that's so important because like I think like everybody that owns a business, everybody that like is working hard to produce more and more embryos, everybody's looking at those numbers, and like for you to also give your clients a feedback, it's important. Like, I know some clinics and some like, practitioners, they do a yearly review of their clients. I mean, why not use the ATA numbers to compare with their own work, right? And then just say, hey, this is what the industry is being producing. This is where I'm at with you. So this kind of thing, like, can help you to even like, improve your relationship and like gain more business, with within your own company. So trying to promote that is good too. And And that's one plus of having, access to the ATA data and being a member and a certified practitioner. So that's what we have to remind everybody. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, something else you wanted to comment there, like, on that topic as well about the committees.
No, I think that we're still just finalizing the committees. Huh? We have the audit committee that makes sure that we're spending the money the right way and the money is there in the bank account. The cooperator committee is a really important one, and I think it brings projects together with USLGE, which is the USDA funds that comes to AETA with some quality sample projects to export to some countries to export embryos. Those are the calls for embryos that we sometimes send the email. So you can, if you don't export yet, it's a good way for you to start exporting because you will be guided by someone that have been exporting because usually one of the committee members will get those embryos together. So you can have some orientation if you're doing it for the first time. So you can bring some funds to a client of yours because you're going to produce some embryos for him that are going to go abroad. And we just applied for Poland and for Ecuador. That should be for 2025. And also the cooperator committee has some trade missions or foreign market development analysis. That's also money that comes from the government. And we applied for Morocco, Kenya, Saudi Arabia, and a follow-up with Vietnam that was done before. So those are projects that we need volunteer members to travel to those countries too. And it's a good way to learn about different embryo transfer systems or to teach embryo transfer and to help us to open new markets that might become our clients in the future as well. So that's another committee that I think that brings a lot to us ET practitioners.
And also when you are teaching other people in other countries, to make sure like you raise the standard or bringing again your expertise since you are an ATA member or a certified practitioner, like bringing your expertise to make sure like the quality work is being performed out there, and you're doing like something that is not going to be like someone is just trying embryo transfer by watching YouTube videos. Like you want to try doing that in the right way, learning that with industries like best practitioners out there. So that's really important as well.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on here, Daniela, as we're going here, now we're gonna start some more fun questions here. We went through all this part that's really important for us for the ATA like association, but like also we need to get more technical here and like ask you what's in the ET world? What is your passion? Like, you like to flush cows? You like to do in vitro fertilization? You like to aspirate cows, to transfer embryos, to evaluate embryos? What can you tell, even especially like that young practitioners is just starting right now? What can you tell them like about your passion, how you do it, what you like to do? Just comment a little bit about like what we are, talking about here.
Well, I get bored easily, so I like diversity. So during a week, I might classify and load embryos that I'm going to transfer in the afternoon in heifers, lactating cows, sometimes up in the mountains. I like to do the IVF process too. I like to analyze the semen, perform the IVF, come back in the afternoon to do the culture. And every other week, I make some IVF potions too. So I like to search and classify oocytes and talk to the clients, do the scheduling and organize their protocols before OPU. Some other days, I'm creating list of embryos or donors for export or signing certificates to export to some countries. So I think I liked this part. I still did not learn how to OPU, but I'll get there. I'll find some time to do that part. that's still missing from my list. But being involved with the lab and being involved on the cow side too, I think like looking at those embryos before I went to transfer helped me learn a lot about which embryo will make a pregnancy. So
What gets pregnant, what doesn't get pregnant, you know right
yes,
away.
yes, and
You're gonna be a calf, you won't be a calf. You know that right away.
yeah, don't feel sorry for throwing that grade 2 non-developed embryo. Just throw it away and don't waste the recipient. So I think that helped me to do. I loved flushing cows when I came here. I flushed like a lot of cows, but because the switch of the markets, we do mainly IVF, and we just flush a few for Japan and China when we have some export projects. So
Absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
but
And then what's your like, when you're like doing like, your Amber transfers there, like, you do have like those conversations with the owner, and then like of course, if I know well, like, my clients, and I assume like, all clients in this country are not different. They will ask you about like, how profitable that is, and how do you usually answer those questions when it comes down to profitability? Like, you talk to them like, hey, we're doing this Amber transfer here. So do you talk to them about numbers when you're transferring Ambers?
I think, of course, I think the main goal of any embryo program is to have a calf in the ground. So that's the main goal, independently of what your donor selection is. So how can we achieve a live calf? So we need good quality embryos transferred to good quality recipients, and we will have to go over everything like that. If you start, for example, a program in a dairy that the conception rate with artificial insemination is really, really low, we won't expect that your embryo transfer program will have good pregnancy results either. So maybe we need to fix a few problems before you start the embryo transfer on that specific dairy. So I do like to analyze that, or in a client that's already established, keep analyzing those numbers to see if we didn't see a drop at some point, if we changed something in the lab, or if they changed something in the management of the cows. So I think, again, the main goal of any embryo transfer program is a live calf in the end. But then it really depends on what type of client are you dealing with and how you're going to produce those embryos. Do you have that really high net merit donor that will give you $100,000 calf, that no matter if you make one embryo out of her, that's fine? Or are you making Angus embryos that you're going to transfer to Jersey lactating cows? So that's going to be sold as a final product to slaughter, right? Or one day after birth. So we probably need to make a much more low cost embryo for that than the one that if you make one embryo, that's enough. So on the one embryo, maybe we need to work on the donor comfort, how we're going to make more oocytes, or how we're going to stimulate that donor to get a better quality oocyte. On the Angus to Jersey, we might need to do a big selection on donor, on follicle population, that she's going to give me more than 30 oocytes, so I'm going to be able to produce a cheap embryo that will be transferred later. So yes, I like just answering your question. I went around, but I talked to the client about that, and you need to figure out what is the goal of that client first, and also analyze the territory to see where you're transferring those embryos later to achieve the main goal, which is the calf.
And that's good to know, because like some of the practitioners out there, like, they think like, oh yeah, no, now I learned how to transfer, it was great. And then you're like, okay, so now that's the more important part to acquire clients and like keep clients, and then know how to troubleshoot. And the most important part of knowing how to troubleshoot, that I think, like, it's like important as well. It's when you are in those meetings, when you're talking to people out there, when you're talking to that, practitioner that you are in contact with more often, your mentor, just like, call them when you have issues because like, they've been through those problems that you have been, and, that you are having right now. Like that's the importance of the networking that you've been mentioning, you've been talking about, that's huge for me. But, moving forward here, like, we talk about a little bit of, of your passions, but I know you're pretty busy too. You still have, a family to take care of, and and other things. If you want to comment on that, how you balance your life on that side too.
So sometimes it's not very easy, and I think my family knows that embryo transfer is my passion too. Luckily, my husband works with me, so I get to see him enough during work too. And my daughters, I try to, when I come home, and try to spend some time, some quality time with them during the little time that we might have, and try to get involved with all the karate, dance, gymnastics, and
All the above.
all the
Yeah.
soccer and all the above too, as much as I can. So
Absolutely.
but I try to have some quality time that will be important for them, and I'm sure teaching them how to work. They know that part they will learn from me for sure. So I get them involved as much as I can to do like little duties and learn how to work too.
Absolutely. That's important too, to get the young ones, through no, I mean, I understand like, our kids are, possibly like casinos work every day, and if they are going to fall in love with it, it's up to them. But like also, I don't know, just like, promoting that to the FFA kids that are also getting started, to be, I don't know, future veterinarians or future practitioners with the ATA. That's so important to inspire them as well, to make sure that like, we'll have the next generation, and we won't have enough people like, to fulfill our shoes, I guess. So
Yeah,
but
mine might not work with cows too. I think they have an overdose, but I think what they will learn and what I tell them, I don't care what you choose, but choose what you love to do. I think we work so many hours, and I tell them I go to work to play. So not every day, some things are worse than others, but most of the time I'm going to work and doing what I enjoy. And I think for anyone starting a career, it's like find the passion, find something that you're happy doing most of the time. And I think then success and good things come as a reward, because you're doing something that you love and you're doing it well. So
absolutely, absolutely. And just like, switching gears a little bit, but staying a little bit of the same subject, for listeners, and then like the people like, that wanted to become an ET practitioner, like that vet student or that PhD student that's like, they're like, trying to achieve and to become like, a practitioner that just started like a transfer embryos in cows, working with another practitioner, or what do you suggest? What are your tips? Because you've been in the industry for a little bit, and we understand you have a huge experience. What would you tell them today that would make them would help them, to become a person, or a professional of such success like yourself?
I think if there is an opportunity to start working under someone that is already working in the industry, and this is my case in Brazil and here after I came with Dr. Alvaro too, I think that helps you to give a quick start, huh? And or even if you're starting by yourself, maybe go visit other practitioners to see what they are doing, huh? Because it will be a little bit different than just preg checking cows or some other things that you can learn by yourself. So I think if you can find a mentor, or if you talk to other practitioners, and again at AETA website there's a good list of people that are listed as mentors, so you can find people near you that are willing to teach. That's one more advantage of being a ATA member. So I would talk to other practitioners and try to work with them a little bit, because before you started doing it by yourself to a client. And I think experience with AI and preg checking, that was huge for me to get the skills that I ended up having today. Yeah? So that artificial insemination, to pass that cervix and be confident in doing it, and then knowing your reproductive tract really well, I think those are really good things.
Yeah, so another thing too, can people can vet students like they're just it is just like I think focus on them because like it's with the ABP. Can they get started with the at the ABP as well? I think we do have a little bit of a program there, right? With that
Yes,
vets.
there is a beginners, and we'll be announcing the dates pretty soon on our website. So there is a beginning ET seminar. It's 3 days, and you have hands-on things done too. So that's one way to do it as well.
Great. No,
And
that's
for students, just as an information, it's free to be an AETA member. So any student, that you can become an AETA member for free and have access of the resources that are from being an AETA member.
That's great. That's really good to know. I don't think we have never had any talks so in depth about ATA and what we promote and what we can offer to the public out there. And also like, one thing that I want to mention is that like at least with me, my experience was that like every time I needed an ATA member to give me a hand, Ashley Swanson, Dr. Bill Crozier, Dr. Steve Moline, all the people that everyone have always, answered the phone, helped me with my questions. I think that like we're here in this industry and we don't know everything. And we wanted to promote like quality work out there. So the better you want to be, I'd say that like ATA will help you to get there as long as you want, and we are here just like to help in any kind you want. If you're a student, if you are already an ATA practitioner, if you have questions as well, if you want to, just like Daniela, she wants to start doing OPUs, we'll probably be setting up a class pretty soon with her. But other than that, I think like the industry needs people that are qualified, that are able to do a good job, and the ATA is going to support that and always raise the bar to get better and better professionals out there. So Daniela, that was an awesome interview. I think that like, we're like, I'm just like, checking here if there is like, anything else that like you'd like to say and to everybody on yourself. If there's any comments you want to make, anything that you want to say here, just so we can finish our podcast.
No, I think the back to the favorite thing, just that but ET would be my favorite. Probably because I did so many. It's like relaxing, just leave the phone in the truck and go. And I feel a little sad when I hear, oh, ET, anyone can do it, huh? But I think with the knowledge that we have, and some of our members have together, and I think the outcome from with all the knowledge that we have behind it makes the results greater. So I think it's not for everyone. And if you're involved with ET, I would
Hey,
recommend
let me just comment something
go.
on the ET part. I think that's great that you said that because like not everyone can do ET, and maybe anyone can try to stick an embryo inside of a cow, but not everyone can make pregnancies and not everyone can troubleshoot, which is the most important part of the equation. When your client calls you and you're like, you know what, we got 30% conception rate on that set of embryos you put in, you're like, okay. So, I think you're absolutely right. I think that's the importance of like, being knowledgeable and knowing how to transfer embryos. That's really, really important. But please continue.
No, and if you're not, and if you're an ET practitioner and you're not an ATA member yet, I would recommend joining, as Ramon said too. And I don't get tired of saying it's an amazing group of people. And if you're already an ATA member and you're not happy with things, join a committee and make things change. I think we need people that want to work and make things better. Just don't sit and wait. Join a committee and help us work too. And we have a really good partnership with the Canadian Embryo Transfer Association. And every 2 years, our meeting is in the US and 1 year is in Canada. So this October, I hope to see everyone in Toronto for our annual convention. And the convention committee is putting a really good program, and we'll have some of the speakers out pretty soon who is coming. But again, the networking is the most fun part of it. So I hope to see you all over there.
Yeah, now Canada's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it as well. I myself will be there. And then just reminding everybody that, like, if you're from the US, you make sure that, like, you have your passports and everything ready. So you needed that to go there. And just, understanding that, like, that trip is like has to be planned and like, no, but I think our friends Canadian are looking forward to see us there as well. ATA is putting together like great, fantastic, like, meeting again. So I really appreciate Daniela your time. I appreciate like Matt, which has had he helped us a lot here, and also Morgan, making his podcast happen. So it's the very first one, guys. I appreciate like all the time, and I think like if you have any suggestions, I will try to get better as well on putting things together for you. But like we'll be announcing our next episode, what's gonna be all about soon. And then once it's on air, like please send us your reviews. If it's on Facebook, please like, and then let's see what we can do together. The ATA is a family, and then we just have to help one another to grow and grow this association. Thank you so much for your time, everybody, and have a good one. Thank you, Danielle. Bye bye.
Thank you, Ramon, and thank you again, Pets, for sponsoring our first podcast.
Absolutely, Pat.
Help.
Thank you so much. That was great, and then like looking forward to the next episode. Bye bye.
Thank you.